Do you ever wonder what product would work best for a nasty bug bite or an annoying cold? Well, Consumer Reports asked doctors and other health experts what health items people should stock in their homes to solve these and other problems. To tell us more about their findings is Senior Associate Editor Jamie Koth. Thanks for being with us, Jamie.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So to start off, what are the best items that you should have on hand in a pinch?
Well, there's a handful of really inexpensive things that you might either already have in your home, in your kitchen, or elsewhere, or that you can easily pick up at a drugstore that are just good things to have to stock your home with. So I'll start with baking soda. You might already have this in your kitchen, for odors or for other reasons, but it's also really useful as a toothpaste. If you happen to run out of toothpaste, you just press some of it onto a wet toothbrush and it cleans just like a toothpaste, and it also is a mild bleaching agent, so you get a little bit of whitening. Another thing that's great to have on hand is a neti pot. You mentioned congestion, like from colds and from allergies. We're really getting into the thick of spring and summer allergies, and these can be really helpful for relieving that nasal congestion. You actually rinse out your nasal passages using the pot. It's a little weird at first for people to get used to, but it can be really helpful. And then there's some really run-of-the-mill stuff like petroleum jelly, which I use to moisturize my lips, but I had never thought about it for cuts and scrapes. But it turns out that it's a really great alternative to using a triple antibiotic ointment like Neosporin or bacitracin. Petroleum jelly really serves the same purpose, which is to create a barrier, a nice barrier over the cut or scrape to help keep out bacteria and prevent infection, and also keep a nice moist environment under there for the cut to heal. So this is A, inexpensive, and B, poses much less risk of an allergic reaction than using those antibiotic ointments, which some people do get rashes from.
And speaking of cuts, you actually say that cigarette rolling paper is nice to have on hand. Why?
Yes. Well, not for smoking purposes. I have to make that disclaimer in each interview. But it turns out one of our medical advisors passed this really cool tip along that I had never heard, which is that rolling papers are really great for stopping the bleeding from shaving cuts. And they're a lot tidier than sticking a wad of Kleenex or toilet paper or gauze on there, which then often sort of dries and gets stuck to the cut when you have to pull it off. So the rolling papers are only about $1 for 100. You can get them at gas stations and convenience stores and drugstores, and you never know when you're going to nick yourself shaving, so why not have some in your medicine cabinet?
Yeah, when I first read your list, I saw cigarette rolling paper and I thought, why?
Yeah, that was the surprising item of the bunch, definitely.
But some items that people probably know more of is aspirin. You say to have that on hand as well. Why?
Yeah, and this is really important because it can be a lifesaver in the event that you or someone in your home is possibly having a heart attack. Aspirin is a blood clot dissolver. So chewing either 4 81 milligram tablets, those are the real low dose tiny ones, or 1 325 milligram aspirin tablet after calling 911 could possibly give life-saving help in dissolving that blood clot while you wait for help to arrive. So this is something super inexpensive and really good to have on hand at home.
Yeah, that's something that everyone should have. And something else on your list that I was wondering about, and I'm sure some of our viewers will wonder about, is witch hazel. Why do you suggest having that?
Well, witch hazel is a cooling substance, so it's great for relieving discomfort from hemorrhoids, and in fact it's the active ingredient in products like Tux medicated pads. But for the same price as a pack of about 40 of those medicated pads, you can buy a whole bottle of witch hazel, and you might feel more comfortable doing that. There's not the stigma, of buying a hemorrhoid product. And in addition, it's great to have on hand because you can use it also for bug bites and stings.
Okay, those annoying
to
bug
cool
bites.
And relieve some of that discomfort. Yep.
Yeah, those annoying bug bites. It's good to have something on hand that can take care of those. And there were some other items that actually most people would think, well, I need that for my kitchen. You say to have distilled white vinegar. Can you explain that to us a little bit?
And again, this also applies to bug bites. It can really help stop the itching from mosquito bites. This is a great home remedy if you get bitten, which a lot of us are going to do this summer inevitably. And also, you can mix white vinegar with water or with baking soda. And you can make a really great bleach alternative, a great household cleaning agent that's non-toxic, a nice all-natural cleaner. So that's a great thing to have around in addition to its obvious uses for cooking.
All right, so white vinegar has a lot of uses that we didn't know. And also you say to have a meat thermometer on hand that will probably stay in the kitchen and not the medicine cabinet.
Yes.
But why do you encourage people to have that?
Well, this has really become a must-have for all of us for preventing foodborne illness that can come from consuming bacteria in undercooked meat. And it's really hard to tell just by eyeballing or sticking a fork or a knife in whether your meat is cooked to a high enough internal temperature to kill those bugs that might potentially be in there. So the meat thermometer is a really great, kind of fail-safe measure for making sure that you're cooking meat hot enough. You want to make sure that meats and roasts, pork or beef roasts reach an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. For poultry, it should actually be 165 degrees or higher.
Okay, so that's something important to have on hand so you don't get yourself sick and others when you're cooking.
Yes.
And last, you have 2 items that you say aren't terribly important, but it's a good thing to have them: 100% shea butter and measuring tape. Why do you suggest those?
Well, I'll start with the shea butter. 100% shea butter is a really great moisturizer, and for people who have sensitive skin, tend to get reactions to lotions and moisturizers that might have fragrance or other ingredients in them, shea butter is a great alternative. Just make sure that the label says 100% shea butter and that there are no other ingredients like fragrance that are added. And finally, was it the measuring tape that was the last one?
Yes, the measuring tape. Sorry to ask you both of them.
Great. Yeah, no, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure I was remembering right. So the measuring tape, this is not a very fun function, but the purpose of the measuring tape is for keeping track of our waist circumference, which is our girth in the area just above the hip bones. And it's turning out that this is really a more reliable indicator of whether you're at an unsafe body weight in terms of increasing your risk of heart disease and other problems. So women should really not have above about a 35-inch circumference. For men, you don't want to go above 40. At the point that you get above there, that's really where heart disease risk from that excess abdominal fat starts to increase. So you definitely don't need to do this every day, but periodically measuring yourself is good for your health.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for sharing these items with us. It's been very informative, and we appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And for more information on these products, head to our website, mymassappeal.com, later today.